Onyx isn't so good at that's. I don't have a good Taza
No, that's
impression.
great. I love that Taza voice. I wish he sounded like that, honestly. That would be great. I want someone to have a good Taza impression. Everyone knows I'm not good at impressions.
Give me like a little bit more time, and then I'll have it ready.
Bring it to BCX.
Game 1, winning semis. We have, of course, Loyas and Loyas and Kyna going up against Vecinaa and Reaper. Let's see what they got.
So it's crazy that it seemed like Chronix was on the way out and Teros was on the way in. And Kyna was very much like on the bleeding edge of Teros as a legend in both 1s and 2s. And then now all of a sudden moving over back to the Onyx. Like, I don't want to say regression, but in terms of the timeline, based on the rest of the world, almost had that neutral signature. Kind of like moving backwards based on the opinions of a lot of other players. Not that Onyx is a bad character by any means, but specifically like Chronix was so huge.
Well, we'll see what, this Onyx has to say today. Right now, that is going to be Loyas coming back down. Barely still holding on to that stock is going to be Vecinaa. Okay, tossing out that axe, creates an opening, says, hey,
toss.
This is my projectile. You're going to stay away. Oops, I got back to stage. Silly me.
Reaper sent over onto the edge. Lores just came in with a falling there. He didn't try and focus on the down air, move himself down there, because I think he wanted to stay up so that he could get the follow-up off of Kyna to get the KO.
Okay, right now Reaper looking for that Sig, not going to be able to connect it. Kyna with a nice little whip punish, comes in with the side A. Wow, yeah, absolutely.
That recovery sitting at that 45-degree angle, taken off the top. 6 stocks, now 5 stocks as we get just a minute and a half into this game, and they've already taken 3 stocks from the blue team. Kyna going deep, not afraid to do it either. He's going to fall, but he also takes Vecinaa out in the long run, making that completely worth.
At the moment, Reaper just looking for a clean way to get back onto the stage. Yo, that switch up, the double switch up. Who's it gonna be? They're both alive is what I would say until Loyas ends up meeting his demise from the bottom there. They just exchanged positions multiple times. That was anybody's stock to take, and it somehow ended in the most anticlimactic way possible.
And that was Lores like seeing Reaper and how damaged he was, and him being on last stock and being like, if we both go down, 100%, 10,000% worth. Okay, Kyna is able to dodge completely up, stay away from that push-off column where Vecinaa was. He was a little bit deeper than Vecinaa was. Lores able to get back, but he eats a ground pound right as he touches the wall, and now Lores is out of the game. All of a sudden, Kyna is in the 1v2. Oh, didn't have quite enough damage to push Kyna far enough to where he would fall into that side air from Vecinaa. That would have certainly led to the KO. He's going to be hunting for a weapon. That D-Sig, not enough just yet. Field stripped instantly. We are seeing a resurgence of the Ulgrim neutral signature, and not just in follow-ups off of like guaranteed team combos where it's just like baked in.
But I gotta say right now, Kyna has the ability to make something special happen. I've gotta say, if I'm Kyna, I'm pretty happy about how much damage was already dealt onto the blue team. But about to be sandwiched in between Vecinaa and Reaper.
He's so smart! He's so smart! He's the smartest player of all time. For going with that dodge through, turn around the side air for the hit, instead of trying to go for the neutral air, of course, that would have gotten countered by the other team member that wasn't being hit by that neutral air. He's so good. He is so good.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was awesome. And again, that is still like a pretty difficult position for Vecinaa to be in, right? Because it is quite literally, hey, are you able to, have a perfect 2v1 combo in the moment? If they slip out just once and they get that that one little punish, they get that one little whiff punish, then it becomes a pretty favorable 1v1. So going into this next game, Loyas and Kyna looking excellent. The only thing that was just a little bit unfortunate was just how quickly, Loyas was taken off the map. But then Kyna was just able to clutch it and hold it down.
And part of the biggest reason that Lores was taken out so early is because he lost that second stock so early as well, because he went for that overcommitment. He
saw it, but he was like, ooh, I want this stock so bad. He had a little guy in his brain clapping, going, ooh, I want this, I want this so badly.
Sometimes you gotta let the intrusive thoughts win. Yeah. You just have to do that.
Well, they actually, the thoughts won. The stock did not, I will say. So that being said, 1 stock apiece for everybody. Loyas taking quite a bit of a beating at this point. A lot of damage. Able to switch it up with a recovery. Looking for the next hit at the moment. Eats a neutralite. Vecinaa tries to follow up. Look at that weapon toss. Reaper's, I believe that might have been Reaper's weapon toss.
Yes, it was.
Kind of interrupted him.
It was an axe weapon toss, and the only axe player other than Vecinaa on the screen who, of course, got hit by the weapon toss is the Zul coming in from Reaper. We could see a full team wipe here. Okay, 1 for 1.
Not a full team wipe, a half and half team wipe at the moment. Reaper making it back on, tries to use that weapon toss as an opening, able to connect it onto Kyna. Kyna with the double chase dodge. Let's see what this becomes. Vecinaa with the very, uncommon punish on that signature. It does not happen often.
I'm still just watching more and more of Kyna. I'm still like further confident in my thoughts that he's my favorite player to watch by far out of anybody out there. Because now we're seeing like, for at least for mine own eyes, different legend, different setup coming out. I love seeing his cannon. I love seeing his gauntlets. I just see more of Kyna, and I love it every single time as Lores. Okay, Lores has got to kind of rein it in a little bit because it's 4 stocks to 4. Could be 4 stocks to 3 here pretty quickly if they get the stock off of Vecinaa. But Kyna having 3 and Lores having 1, not great.
Yeah, not the best at the moment. Kyna double chase dodge, and Lores they just need to get close enough to Reaper to shove him off stage with just the presence alone, able to now split them up. They're separated. They don't want to be separated because look at what happens. That was 1-1v1 that resulted in Vecinaa stock being taken, and now we have Reaper off stage still clinging on to a little bit of hope.
Spear coming in for Lores, hoping to juggle in the air, hits the recovery, putting some more damage onto Vecinaa, who's on his final stock. Lores has now taken less damage on his final than Vecinaa has. Kyna just kind of covering over on that edge.
Is not letting go of Vecinaa. Lores wants to get Vecinaa so badly, just keeps hunting him down over and over with that bow. Out for blood.
Now, Lores, we're seeing some like overlap from Lores, especially like after we saw him overextend last game, sent flying. He's losing his stocks a little bit early compared to some of the other teams, and especially like compared to his own teammate, which is really like the error in that moment. Oh no, Kyna. That neutral air ended up dropping there on the wall because that's a super weird spot for it to pick up. Now Reaper in the middle of both members of the red team, hoping for a cheeky slide charge signature. Lores pushing and then going back to the main ground, knowing how important it is to control that, but both of them stack, get picked up. Reaper gets 1 stock. Can he clean up Lores? No, Lores was able to get high over him and back onto the main platform before sending Reaper over to the edge.
Uses up that dodge. You have to eat that recovery. Using it up yet again. Reaper trying to find a way to get back down. Tries to go for the unarmed down strong. Doesn't connect. There is nothing that you can do at this point. 3 stocks to none. Red team, I mean, they're just doing amazing at the moment.
And as much as I never want to say anything bad about Lores ever, because he's also, it seems like he's probably one of my like second favorite players to watch in the entire game, but we're seeing a disconnect between Kyna and Lores. Yes, they are winning. Yes, they are playing well. Of course, that's always going to be true. But the fact that like Kyna is doing massive damage and Lores is kind of falling earlier. He's not doing bad damage. He's not completely hindering his team and leaving Kyna alone in the 1v2 every time. But there's some team damage coming out from him. There are some overlap moments where it seems like he should trust Kyna more in those moments, just like Kyna would trust Lores if the roles were reversed. So it seems like, I don't want to use this word because it sounds too harsh, but there's a little bit of slop there between Kyna and Lores, who are usually so tight. They're still, of course, very good, but it's that usual, like, tightness between them and them being always on the same page, same paragraph, same sentence, same word, and I'm not seeing that quite as much here as I'm used to.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so as far as to call it a carry at the moment because again, they're like still dealing like pretty,
exactly.
Kind of dealing more damage, but it's still like close enough amounts of damage.
Yes.
Lores is still pulling in his weight, but the thing that really gives the magic of this team, I'm curious to see if they'll be able to tighten it up. As well, also no shame in expressing that, you know, Kyna's your number 1 and Lores may be your number 2 because hey, you know what? Every parent, they love one kid more. One of them just does better. So going into this next game, into game 3.
I'm not that kid, unfortunately.
I am. It's the best.
Hey, well, good for you. Another thing that you have that I don't. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I've
glad.
It off.
I'm so glad for you.
Loved?
I love that for you.
It's optimal, isn't it?
God,
Okay.
I've seen what you've done for them, and I want that for me.
Yeah, you talking to Godly now?
No, different person.
Different guy. You got to rock it up.
I'm never talking to him again.
Okay, at the moment, Kyna getting that D-Light into the down as well, getting a good amount of damage onto the board. Backing off, I love that.
Just stood there like, come on, man, what are you doing? What do you think is going to happen with that? But of course, he didn't really get initially punished for it as, okay, yeah, Kyna is, I feel like, happy to throw away that stock because, of course, he was on first, Vecinaa was on second. It's, again, another one of those, like, massive Kyna trades where he falls, but he's more than willing to do it because he understands the long game. And then it seems like we're having some issues on our spectator, but the live client is looking good over here.
Let's see what we got going on. Bunch of neutralites as well at the moment. Kyna, huge side light into the side and dodges just in case Reaper presses another cannon side out of this advantage. Let's see what it's going to be here. Huge follow-up potential. Backing off, waiting. Oh.
Brink, 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 brink. That's the sound of all the cannons going off, which I'm loving seeing two different cannons on the screen from two different players, because I do like some cannon and twos, and I do like that spear from Lorez as well. He was holding that blender right there in the back, actually ended up getting punished for it.
Oh, so
the resurgence of the neutral signature from Olgrim, I'm telling you, it's crazy that we're seeing it used so well in current year.
That's going to be it, though. Kyna just going out there, closing off that stock with the down as well. And again, look at the cumulative damage. 1,000 damage dealt together, and then look at blue team's cumulative damage, barely going over the 600 point. So it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tricky. I got to say, Kyna and Boilers are kind of looking indomitable at the moment, even without like that super high level of synergy that you've talked about beforehand. They're both just pulling in their weight so well. They both have just really...